Good morning, 7th and 8th graders. Today, for math, you guys need your this fraction decimal percent chart. This one I have kind of given you to work through. But for the lesson, we're going to go over percents of a number, guided practice, this sorting activity, and these practice questions. All right, so there's 3 papers today, but it's really not going to be a lot. All right, so the first thing, we're going to go through this just to make sure that you guys are all on track with finding the percents of a number. All right, so the first thing, remember, the word of means to multiply, and percents are changed to decimals, and then you multiply. All right, so our first example, it says 70% of 150. So you change the percentage to a decimal, and then you multiply that times the number to get the percent of a number. All right, so we're going to do that a couple times and then move on. All right, so the first thing we have 40% of 120. So we change 40% to the decimal version. So 0.4 or 0.40, these are the same things. Just don't forget that, okay? And then we're going to multiply because of means multiply. Okay, so multiply it out. 4 times 0, and then 4 times 12 is 48. And then we have 1 decimal. So 40% of 120 is 48. Okay, next example, 60% of 70. 60% of 70. So first step, change that 60% to a decimal. Okay, 60%, remember 0.6 or 0.60, same thing. All right, and we're going to multiply that times 70. I know that 6 times 7 is 42. So 6 times 70 is going to be 420. And then there's 1 decimal. Okay, so 60% of 70 is 42. All right, so that's the practice that we're going to do. We're going to do that a bunch more times. All right, the first thing that I've given you in your packet is this, or I gave it to you online. And it says to cut them apart. Please don't cut them apart. I mean, I guess unless you want to and you want to tape it or glue it to the back of the other page. But what you can do instead is that you're going to calculate these problems and just number them, okay? So 60% of 300, remember this is 0.6 times 300. 6 times 3 is 18. So 6 times 300 is 1800 plus 1 decimal. Okay, so 60% of 300 is 180. All right, so you're going to calculate these. Shouldn't take too long. Some of them, remember, if you have a percent that's greater than 100, so this is 120% of 40. That's the same as 1.2 times 40. Okay, don't forget that. But once you have done these problems, you can put them in order from smallest to largest just by numbering. Let's say this is number 1 and this problem is number 2. Okay, so just order them that way instead of cutting them out. And then you have a couple more practice problems on here. All right, this is not new. There's only 8 problems on here. So this is not a new skill, but we're practicing and making sure we have our skill set done and mastered. All right. So have fun. Please text me or call me if you guys get stuck.